Alright guys, it's Stephen here and we are back with a transfer target on BlueMoonRisingTV, and I think it's fair to say it was a pretty busy night last night for Manchester City. There was some John Stones news and it's pretty positive too. Allegedly, he's gone and told Koeman, obviously Everton's new manager, that he wants to start pre-season training with Pep Guardiola, which must sting a little bit if you're the manager of a new club. But yeah, that's what he's apparently told Everton. This is coming from the Liverpool Echo as well, and they are the local newspaper there. They know their stuff with their players, and I think that's not really a big surprise. I think we all know that Pep wants to sign John Stones, and I can understand that reasoning too. He's a very good player, a ball-playing centre-back, which is obviously pivotal to how his teams play. And I think John Stones realises that maybe it's the best chance for him to develop and learn and potentially be England's answer to Jerome Boateng. He does have that potential. So this one is going to move in. It's going to move into the middle ring. There's a little bit of work to be done before it's on the inside ring, but John Stones, I think, will be a City player, in my humble opinion, by the time the season starts. Obviously, pre-season training for him will be a little bit later because he was away with England, but that's a very positive step towards another potential signing. It was also a very confusing one. Geronimo Rulli, the wonderfully named Geronimo Rulli, his potential transfer is confusing as it gets. I spent all last night trying to work out what it actually means, but in a nutshell, City are going to apparently buy him from Deportivo Maldonado, which is where he was on loan from last season at Sociedad, then sell him back to Sociedad, and then we have a right to buy him again in a couple of years' time. I think the idea of this is basically, long and short of it, is we either get a keeper who's had a couple of years on loan at Sociedad, who's improved, or we just don't get him at all and make a small profit on him, so for a cost of about €7 million. It's very confusing, but long and short of it is I think we want this guy in the long term, not necessarily now, which does once again raise questions with the likes of Claudio Bravo, Ter Stegen as immediate challenges to Joe Hart. But Geronimo Rulli, I think we are in for him. It seems that we're going to sign him pretty soon, according to the papers. So that's going to move into the inside ring. Whether he'll be here at City next season, I don't think so. I think he'll be on loan again, maybe the season after. A little bit like Courtois maybe at Chelsea when he was away for a couple of years at Atletico Madrid. But I'm fine with that. I like this whole long-term kind of goal that we've got here about getting young players in quickly and cheap and then getting them back with hardly any cost really at all. So that one I think will happen. And there was also a bit of Leroy Sane news. Yeah, apparently the sporting director of Schalke has come out and said that if Leroy Sane wants to leave, he has to tell the club. I think they're kind of playing hardball there. They're kind of putting the ball in his court. I understand those tactics. We see a lot of clubs who, it's more about saving face usually. They get these players to kind of admit it so it doesn't look too bad when they eventually sell them. We see clubs do it a lot. It's kind of saying to the fans, don't blame us if you sell him. He didn't want to be here in the first place. And I think that's exactly what they're doing with Sane there. They want him to admit he wants to move on, just to, so then they've got a reason to sell him. Otherwise, they kind of get criticism from the supporters. I understand that tactic, but the interesting thing is for Sane is that, and Schalke, is that if they sell him this summer, they'll get £41 million, which is apparently what City are willing to sell. But if they wait another year, he has a release fee clause that kicks in for only £27.5 million. So they're potentially losing money if they hold on to him for another season. Sane, I think, is very high on our list of players. I think he's one of Guardiola's first choice signings. I think he'll eventually cave in and do the right thing and say he wants to come to Man City, and I think it'll happen. He just might roll on like the De Bruyne thing did last year, but he's going to stay in the middle ring for now. But I think he's one that eventually will be done. Fingers crossed it's pretty soon. And there's a little bit of negative news on Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I know a lot of you have been asking in the comments about him, but unfortunately, I think that's pretty much over. Bild, who obviously one of the most reputable German newspaper sources, have said that Dortmund have ruled out a sale. It's probably not a really surprise given they've already sold like Hummels and Mkhitaryan and Gundogan. They've probably got about 4 players left and they're probably going to be using their kids next season. I don't think they really want to sell their prized asset because I think there'd be a bit of there'd be a problem with the fans, wouldn't they? They sold all their players in one summer. So for all those that have been asking, I think that one's more or less ruled out, unfortunately. So that's on the outside of rings, even going further than that away. I don't think he'll be a City player this summer at the very least. Maybe in the future, but that one's pretty much ruled out. Any other rumours have you seen as well? Let us know in the comments below. There'll obviously be more stuff flying about pretty soon. But yeah, and don't forget to subscribe too. This is where all transfer updates are. Drop a like on the video and we'll see you soon.